Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Real Talk for Real Teens, hosted by Kim Creighton, or as she's known by the people who know her best, Mama C. The show where we uniquely combine the information teens need with the entertainment teens want.
I apologize. Kenya, is that you?
Yes.
And were you guys having a show without me?
Somewhat.
Well, that's good. Give me a second to get Janine back, and we'll pick up where we left off. Hello, everyone. I was having some technical difficulties. Obviously, my guest and my co-host, which was great, could hear each other, but I could not. So let me get my co-host back, and we will pick up where we left off. So give me a second, Kenya. Well, Kenya, while you're doing that, and it's going to be a dial tone in your ear, unfortunately, could you just introduce yourself to everybody?
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Kenya Latrice Johnson. I am an incoming freshman at the wonderful Howard University. I am a freshman psychology and human development major with a concentration in child and adolescent adolescent development. And I am just grateful that I'm able to go to Howard and so excited about this journey because it's been a long one getting there, and I just can't wait.
I'm sorry, I'm not able to take your call right now, but please leave a message and I'll get...
Sorry about that. Thank you. Give me just a second and let me get Janine back in here, and then we'll get started. Again, I apologize. Don't know what happened. They had my whole system, but you guys were champs. You were going at it. Janine, is that you?
Yes, I am back.
Yes, and from what I can hear I know. What I can hear from the technician, she said there are two people talking. I was like, yay, they're having it without me, but God, I can't hear them. So thank you guys for going ahead, and again, I apologize to my audience as this is, as you know, technology happens, and for some reason, as soon as the show went live, it died on me. So Kenya just introduced herself. Janine Russo is my guest host tonight, my co-host tonight. So just say something about yourself and the musical artist for tonight.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Janine Russo. I'm entering my junior year as a journalism major at Hofstra University, and tonight's musical artist is a musical duo by the name of Aurah. They have quite serene music, and the duo is comprised of Judith Martin and Marc, and here is their first song called Aurah.
All right, we're going to play their first song, and we'll come back and we'll jump right into it, guys. Again, thank you for your patience. That's life, so let's get into it.
Welcome back to Real Talk for Real Teens, hosted by Kim Creighton. To talk live on the air, call 347-539-5226.
Hello and welcome back. I'm Janine, and I have to say I'm feeling pretty good after hearing that song. That had me, jamming and pumped up. How are you feeling, Tina?
I'm doing great. Very, very
Did you like the song?
Yes. It's very calming.
So what do you have to tell us about your expectations of going to Howard University?
I am so excited about going to Howard. I am counting down the days. There's 15 more days left. And I
can hear it. I can hear it all in your voice. I can hear it all in your voice. You are just like, oh my God.
I can't wait. My expectations are so high for the next couple of months. When I first go to school, we have freshman week, and basically they just have all of these different activities that inaugurate us into the campus, show us where our classes will be at, let us meet friends, get used to the campus, and all these great different things to get to know everybody. And I'm so excited, especially with social media and everybody just hyping it up. I'm just ready. I'm so ready.
Well, tell us a little bit about. I want to hear a little bit about your journey, because you have a very unique experience. Not only did you, and we want to get into the fact that you're going to college on a full ride with the scholarships that you apply for, because I think young people. I had so many young people say 2 weeks before school gets out, "Oh, do you know any scholarships?" As if I have them in my butt somewhere. It's like, no, these are things that you have to work for. These things you have to research and apply and write. These are not things that you just fall out. They're just, I just happen to have them in my pocket. And also the fact that you also are unique in the fact that you did dual enrollment. So just tell people what dual enrollment is first.
Well, dual enrollment is when you're a high school student and you are registered as a high school student, and you can take high school classes as well as taking college courses. And they give you a lot of freedom, whether you want to do, in high school you get 6 academic courses. So if you want to take 5 high school courses and 1 college course, or if you want to take 5 college courses and 1 high school course, you get to pick and choose which classes you want to take. In my county, they have specific courses that you can take that will be equivalent to the classes that you would take in high school. And honestly, I wish I would have started doing enrollment my junior year, because it's so much more freedom than being in high school, because you actually get that college experience without being thrown into going to college. You get to experience the classes and the workload, and then when you actually go to college, then you can experience the social life. So you'll be prepared on a better level.
So you're actually not going in as a freshman, are you?
No, I'll be entering Howard as a sophomore with my credit.
Okay, so you take all those credits with you.
Yes. It'll be, I believe I'm taking 33 credits with me.
Wow.
Yeah, I was about to say,
my
wow.
roommate's like that, actually. As a sophomore, she's going into junior year like me, but she is actually considered a senior now. It's her last year. She was able to finish in 3 years. Is that what you're doing?
Well, since I'm double majoring, it would usually take me about 5 years to finish both majors. But
okay, so you cut off a year. Okay.
Yes. So
okay, so you get to do like a regular 4 year like everybody else. That's really neat.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you come in you're not coming in as the typical green freshman who coming straight out of high school who has no experience. I really dual enrollment is something that I know a lot of young people might not be ready for just for the maturity level, but something I really encourage young people to do. To take a MOOC class, if you don't know what this is, MOOC, Google MOOC, and go to places like Coursera, and MIT has it where they're free college classes. It's a real full class, and you can get that experience of taking classes with college students at the college level just to practice. And they'll give you a certificate of completion when you're done. I'm sure that can go to credit for something, but it'll give you that, you'll get used to that pace that you talked about.
Definitely. And I mean, even lots of, it's different courses that kids can take to prepare them for college classes. I know taking AP and honors courses really helped me prepare for my dual enrollment courses. And it's kind of like a trickle-down effect. The AP and honors courses helped me prepare for dual enrollment, and now the dual enrollment is helping me prepare for college. And even with the dual enrollment, it helped me prepare for more than just the classes, but how to register for my classes, what type I got to learn.
You're not that scared freshman who's going to be on there that first day in line is like, oh, my God, what do I do? Where do I go? I don't know. Yeah, all of that.
Exactly. And I know how much I can take, what times I prefer to have classes, which way I learn better. I've learned that I do not like the 3 times a week, 50-minute courses. I have a longer attention span than most of my peers, so I don't mind being in an hour and 30-minute class 2 times a week. Even if it's 50-minute classes, it irks me because we never finish. We always laugh over to the next class. So
tell me a little bit about. My apologies. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine.
No apologies. This is a conversation. You talk over to people when you're at home talking to your family. Go ahead.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your peers then, since it seems like you are well ahead of the game by doing dual enrollment, because thank God for those AP and honors courses, because when I was in school, if it weren't for those, I don't think I would have a clue, since dual enrollment really wasn't something we spoke about in my school district. But your peers, are you very far ahead of your peers? Or is dual enrollment something that they were interested in doing, or are they more apathetic toward college? I'd just like to hear some of the opinions of your peers.
Well, when I first found out about how to do dual enrollment, and I told my friends and I was encouraging them to do it, a lot of them had various reasons for not wanting to do it, and I had one friend that didn't want to do it because she thought she was kind of ignorant to the process, and she thought that taking these college courses would affect her HOPE, which is a grant that we get in Georgia for going to an in-state school, which is not true. It doesn't affect any of your financial anything for college. It's free for the most part, and with the exception of a few fees and books that you have to pay for. I had other friends that just didn't have transportation to go to and fro school, so that was one of the reasons. And then I just had friends that just didn't want to do it. And unfortunately, that's how it is. Sometimes as much as you can encourage people and try to get them to want to do something, at the end of the day, it's going to be what they want to do.
That's
Amen.
very true. That is so true.
And to learn that lesson very early. And that's one lesson that I find as, just as an adult working with young people, I can give you, and this is why I do the show. I call it the buffet. I'm going to give you all the information that I can. What you do with that information is I can't be responsible for that. And for a very long time, I tried to be. I was, come on, you can do this, you can do this. And now I'm at a point where, you know what? I've given you the information. What you do with it is on you, boo. I'm done. I got to move on to the next one who might be interested in this information.
I definitely understand. My mom always says you're responsible to people, not for people. So you can give them the information, and they decide what they want to do with it. From that point on, you're not responsible for anything else that they do. And that's how I have to be with some of my friends. As much as I love them and love hanging out with them, it's just some stuff where we're just on completely different levels. So I have to accept that.
And plus, you're entering college. You're entering a whole different world. I mean, I hated to think that way when I was a senior going off. I hated to say, oh, I'm never going to speak to these people again, or I'm not going to speak to them as often. But you're going to college to broaden your horizons and meet new people. So you'll be with people that are like-minded, that think like you, that you relate to, that you gel with more.
Exactly. That's one thing I love about Howard. I went to campus. I went on campus they had summer orientation. It was basically about 2.5 days where they have different seminars to tell you about policies at school and help you register for classes. And I tell you, within 10 minutes of me being on campus, I was in a conversation with somebody, and we were in deep conversations just talking about things that I could never talk about with my friends at home, and that was the theme that whole weekend. I was just talking to people that thought not exactly like me, but very similar to me. And even helped me, like, broaden my horizon and think about things differently.
Yes.
So that's what
think
I
about
love.
Well, think about it. Your high school, basically, unless you're in a private school, if you're in a public school, you're only in the same school based on geography.
Exactly.
And so
right.
It's not even. There's no choice in that. And so when you go off to college, that's where choice comes in. You get to choose your college, hopefully. And then when you're there, you might not get to choose your roommate, but then you get to choose the groups of people you want to hang with and the kind of conversations you want to have. And so with that, we're going to take our second break, or our first, whatever, but this might be like the third break after that, what we had at the beginning. We're going to take our second musical break, and then we'll pick the conversation up. When we come back, I want you to really start talking about that scholarship process, what you guys did, how all of that whole process, because I want people to understand that it takes work, but it's that payoff is well worth it. So, Janine, I'm ready for you to introduce the next song.
Yes, we are going back to Aurah with Korwa again, but this time it's the M80 remix.
All is fair and quiet. Rain has come and gone.
Follow us on Facebook at Real Talk for Real Teens and on Twitter at RTFRT Radio. Welcome back to Real Talk for Real Teens, hosted by Kim Creighton. To talk live on the air, call 347-539-5226.
All right, we're back.
And we're back. Woo!
Yeah, we're talking to Kenya Johnson, and I have a guest host, my co-host tonight, so I'm going to leave this show to the rest for you, Janine, to get to you guys discuss, have a conversation about that whole scholarship process that she went through.
Okay.
So, Kenya, was it a daunting process for you looking for scholarships and finding ones that you were eligible for? Because I know the process was very long for me.
I had a lot of help and support, so it wasn't as horrific as it could have been. There will be nights where me and my mom will be downstairs on our laptops, and she will be looking up stuff and sending me information and basically going on sites like FastWeb and scholarships.com and just reading out the things that she felt that was that I would qualify for. In addition to, I am a part of this program called the Gifted Education Foundation, and they also help us find scholarships that fit our story. And so several of my scholarships came from them, and one of my scholarships was somewhat random, so that was a big blessing. But the process is... Oh, go ahead.
So, I mean, for the full scholarship, though, because I just kind of wanted to dispel a myth that a lot of college students think, because I certainly thought it when I was a high school senior, but so you're saying that your full scholarship didn't come from Howard University, right? You went to various other places and found and together got enough money in scholarship funds to pay for your college education for 4 years, but it didn't come from Howard. Okay. Yeah, because I know that a lot of people think that full scholarships come from a university once they apply for various scholarships, and then they look and they see that, you know, they only offer but maybe $10,000 per student, and that's not the case, and then they're stuck scrambling at the last minute. So I think that's an important thing to just sort of dispel for our audience.
Definitely. My scholarships are my full ride is a combination between grants and I have one scholarship from Howard, and then I have 3 other outside scholarships, which cover my full cost of attendance. But it was a lot of hard work. You know, it was definitely a part-time job. And my scholarship from Howard came at the perfect time because originally Howard, they have freshman scholarships, which are based on your test scores, and I'm not a good tester. So my scores weren't high enough to get the scholarships for the freshman scholarships. So I could have been like, oh, well, I don't qualify for any of their scholarships, so I'm just going to have to go to settle for an in-state school or another school. But because I knew that this is the institution that I really wanted to go to, I had to work my butt off and find various ways to finance my education.
Absolutely. And you mentioned also about the cost of attendance there, because a lot of people don't realize it's not just educational scholarships. You know, you don't just pay for your classes and that's it. If you're dorming, you have to pay for your dorm. There's books that, you know, need to buy that can get quite expensive. I usually pay around $500 per semester per book, not, you know, coming out of my own pocket because I apply for different scholarships and grants. But, you know, and then there's the meal plan too. So I think that's really interesting that you were able to find various different scholarships. So what were the ones that contributed the most? And can you tell the audience again just the websites where you found these?
One scholarship that has been phenomenal in my life, I actually just came back from a leadership conference for the scholarship. It's called the Teller Michael Scholarship, and it's not just someone handing you money and say, okay, go to school. It's an actual program. It's a family, actually. And like I said, I just came back from LA with them and getting to know all of them. It was somewhat like me going to Howard, being with like-minded people that were just as interested in changing the world and reshaping the way that the communities think, just like I am. So that is a phenomenal scholarship. Again, this is the Taylor Michaels Scholarship Program. Another scholarship that I received was the Ronald McDonald House Charity Scholarship. That is, I think the website is rmhc.org. And my final outside scholarship was local, and it was a Delta Sigma Theta Gwinnett County chapter, alumni chapter scholarship. And
I want to break in a minute. Could you tell, back up and tell the audience how long this process took? Because you're giving out these great websites and these great things. What I'm finding is, again, you can't wait till 2 weeks before school out, before you graduate, to say I want scholarships. So when did you start this process?
I started in August of my senior year. But I was a novice.
And that's late for some people. So you did well. Wow, that's great.
I was a novice to the scholarship process.
Exactly.
I thought, because my mom didn't know much about scholarships, we kind of had like an idea of how we were supposed to do it and how we were supposed to find things. But definitely start as early as you can is my advice, because you get more practice with the more scholarships that you do, and get a strong support system, because you're not going to be able to do it by yourself. Either you need somebody to read your essay over, look over your application, or just help you find other scholarships that match whatever it is that you're trying to qualify for.
Oh, yes, definitely. I would say, going off of what you said, I would think that the biggest piece of advice that I could offer somebody is always get help. You know what I mean? The scholarship process isn't one where you can just do it by yourself. I mean, plenty of people do. And, you know, as you get older, it gets easier, because I'm still applying for various scholarships. You know, some are only available to upperclassmen, juniors and seniors, and some graduate students. So the scholarship process will never fully end for as long as you're in school, but especially in those first few months when you're just setting off, it's always good to have somebody look over it, give you feedback, know what the scholarship distributors are looking for in your essays and certain things like that. But I think what is the most fascinating to me is when talking to a new freshman. Oh, my goodness, I feel so old saying that. I can't believe I'm already a junior. I think the most fascinating thing is, because when I see incoming freshmen, I always want to know why they chose Hofstra, because I ended up there by a complete accident. So I kind of want to know why you chose Howard. I was going to think that it was based on the scholarship, but since you didn't start looking till later, I'm just curious.
I chose Howard. I was actually, like many people, that many people that want to go to the top HBCUs, they have a Howard and Hampton debate. So I initially started with Howard and Hampton as my kind of equivalent choices, but I later found that Howard embodied me more, and I felt that this institution was an institution that was crafted exactly for me, and I didn't feel that with any other college, in-state, out-of-state, public, private, whatever. And like I was saying about going on campus for orientation and just being able to bond with people so quickly, I had never experienced that. And I had never seen so many African-American intellectuals in my life. I've gone to predominantly white schools for most of my life, or Caucasian schools for most of my life, and I would be in the AP classes and the honors classes, and I would basically be the only black girl in the class. It would be me and the other black boy, you know. So going to Howard and meeting these people that were top of their class and valedictorian, salutatorian, and just amazing and genius African Americans. It was so inspiring. So I was like, oh, wow, this really does happen. You know, there are other people that's like me that really care about their education and want to make a difference. So that was one of the main reasons that I chose Howard, because you see that everywhere. I see it from the Facebook groups to having regular conversations with some of my friends. And it's a very nurturing environment. It's not a babying environment, but very nurturing, and they care. So that's why I'm going to be license.
Yeah, I want to back up a bit again, because it's very obvious that you're very mature, and you work for these. I mean, the fact again that you just started, I just assumed that you started your sophomore, junior year. To start your senior year and have a full ride is a blessing. So I commend you for that.
Yeah.
'Cause I know the work that it must have taken to get all that done, because I keep telling people, and I want to talk about the fact that your mom is educated, the people around you have been educated as adults, and the fact that your mom, and she's an accountant, didn't know about the scholarship process. That's why I do shows like this, because there's so many assumptions out there. And parents don't know that this whole, not just the scholarship process, but couple that with the whole getting prepped for college is a full-time job. And no one's really preparing young people the way they need to be prepared for the process of transitioning from high school to college. And if you heard the show 2 weeks ago when Dr. Appleby was on here, and he says you cannot think of freshman year as 13th grade. It is a whole different environment. It's a whole different environment. And there are things, just like when you said that one scholarship where it's not just you getting money, you have to work for it. I tell people it's not about preparing for college. It's not just about how to get past that ACT, SAT, and make sure you have that essay together. It's about getting your mind right. So it's about going out to your community. It's about doing things that are going to prepare you. Have you learned how to handle money? Have you learned how to grocery shop for yourself? Do you know how to do your own laundry? Do you know how to advocate for yourself if something is going on that you think is not, I'm not even going to use the word fair because life's not fair, but that something is happening that you don't agree with? Do you know how to advocate for yourself in a way that people are not going to say, if you don't get out of my face, I'm going to slap you? Those are the things that you need to be preparing yourself for as a young person leaving high school to go to college. That tells me that you're prepared for the adult world. I don't care. People tell me, oh, but I'm this in my class. I don't care. Honestly don't care. I don't care if you're the student body president. That's only popularity. I don't care if you're I don't care about those things. What I want to care, and Janine can tell you today, I care about demonstrating what you can do. That's all I care about. And if you don't know how to demonstrate, that you know how to advocate for yourself so you can get the information that you need so that you can demonstrate what you know. Because if you can't do it, your supervisor won't need you for very long. Your manager won't need you for very long. I mean, no one. What value will you have if you can't demonstrate what you can do or even know?
The only problem is that, so many high schools don't teach that. And
we're going to stop there.
Was shocked.
We're going to stop there because we're going to go to the next song because I really want to get into that. You are so right. So we really, oh my God, you just hit a nail on the head for me.
Okay, that's right. We better go to a break before I get on a tangent.
Exactly, and myself. So go ahead.
So the next song is again by Aurah, and it is Korwa, but this time it is the Genuine Child's down-tempo remix. So let's play it.
New or unknown music artists, we need you for the show. If you'd like your own mini concert, please send a request for information to realtalkforrealteens@gmail.com. Welcome back to Real Talk for Real Teens, hosted by Kim Creighton. To talk live on the air, call 347-539-5226.
All right, first I want to say we're going to go a little over today because we had the technical difficulties, because I really want us to make sure we have an opportunity to complete this conversation. And I want to pick up where we left off, and here are some things that I want to say about that, Janine, before we even get started. There are two sides to that coin. The first side is you guys are the first generation to actually this is what you need to know to equip yourself for adulthood is not the same thing I need to know to equip myself for adulthood. Yes, granted, I was not prepared. At 18, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. But the world was different. I could go get a college degree, and that would guarantee me a job, you know. And I'm not as old as people, you know, who were looking for pensions. But with a college degree, I could find a professional job. You guys, and I wasn't necessarily competing with the world. For me, it was a big deal if I was competing with somebody in California. You guys are the first U.S. citizens who could live their entire lives abroad, and you're competing with the world. This is who your competition is. You're competing with people from other countries who have a totally different value of what education is. That's one thing. Another thing is school was never set up for this. School was set up in the industrial age where it was to get you to learn a skill so that you can go to a job and work for the rest of your life. The whole system is turned upside down because it is just not prepared to prepare you for the things you need to do. So what needs to happen is you go to school, but your families need to help augment all those things that school doesn't provide. So, and that's where I know that parents are misstepping. They have that same mindset of when they were in school, not understanding school. They got to get you ready for these tests that you got to pass just to get out of there. They don't have the resources, the wherewithal, the expertise, any of that to get you prepared for anything beyond what's in that curriculum. That I'm not going to say that. What I'm saying, they don't have the time. That's not their focus. That's not their initiative. They need to get you ready for, you know, whatever exams you have to take or whatever that is. And I'm going to say this, and this ruffles feathers as well. The level of what they call rigor has decreased. So what I think I was a much better, more rounded student when I came out of high school than you guys are when you come out of high school.
Yeah.
So it's a totally different thing, and because those things are missing, and I believe parents don't even realize they're missing, because I can tell you with the new Common Core that most states have gone to, I can bet I can count on my hand how many parents outside of the teaching profession even know what Common Core is. And this is the new mandate for students within those 44 states. So there's a lot of pieces there. And so this has to be just like Kenya and her mom did what they had to do. This has to be a full-time initiative beyond school, because schools just ain't going to get it there. And if you think they are, you're wasting your time.
No, that's definitely true. Schools haven't been doing the proper job, and, you know, I completely agree with everything you're saying, and you definitely know a lot more about this than I do, because as an educator, the only thing is I don't necessarily think that we can place this all on the parents. I feel that a lot of ownership does have to be taken by the educational system. You're saying that they're not equipped to
it's not their
teach
mandate.
People and educate people in the way that the world has changed. However, they should be. They should try to at least keep up and get on that level, because I think it all starts at school. people are going out into the world with what they learned from school. If society's changing, then it should be because the educational system is getting better, not staying the same and having people fend for themselves.
And that makes absolute sense. But again, with this, how do you do that? And I'm not, God knows I'm not. I'm just giving you this point because I think school systems should change, but that's a bureaucracy. So what you're saying, so for me, if I was a parent, am I going to spend my time, because my child is getting older every year, am I going to spend my time trying to force this thing to change, or do I as a family need to change?
I see.
That's all
I'm saying. No,
that's
absolutely right.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I mean, because it's a bureaucracy. It's like the Department of Education is no different from any other corporation with layers upon layers upon layers. People always think it's the school systems, where there are a lot of things that by federal law they have to do. A lot of things by state law they have to do. It's a lot of things by so teachers' classrooms are not their own as it was when I was going to school. A teacher could teach what they wanted to. So we know that is the situation that we're living in. So, yes, we have, I'd say, spend 20% of your time going to that school and saying, hey, how can I, what are you doing? Why are you doing it that way? The other 80%, I'm going to augment that for myself, my family, because it's not coming from them. And I'm going to disagree with you on this. It does start with the families because they're responsible for this. Bottom line, those teachers, that's their job. That child is yours.
I didn't look at it like that. That's very interesting. And it kind of goes back to what you were saying, Kenya, because you were saying how the information should be out there, the information, all of it's out there. It's accessible for everyone. But it's up to the person to look at it. So I guess it sort of goes back to the families. Yes, the teachers, yes, the institution should be better. But it goes back to the parent taking responsibility.
Well, also, and again, I'm not beating up on parents. It's about educating them on what they need to know because they don't even, you don't even know what you don't even know. And that's when we find ourselves in that situation. Because again, I'm going to tell you, 44 states have Common Core. This year, it's a mandate that these 44 states do Common Core. How many families even understand what Common Core is? And this is what the mandate. And I'm going to tell you, Common Core is, the standard is so low. If I was a parent, just like Kenya's mom, I'm going to challenge my child to do something more than what's required as the minimum, because that's the minimum. So what the schools have is you should see that as a foundation. But you need a house. You're not just going to lay out on the foundation, are you?
True.
You need to build a house. And a lot of that comes from educating the parent and making sure those young people take responsibility for it. And that's why I wanted Kenya on the show, because she took responsibility for what she had to do. No excuses. They did it. They got it done.
I was very interested listening to both sides. For me personally, my mother and I don't want to say we had to fight the system, but we definitely had to fight for what we wanted.
Exactly.
Even when it came to dual enrollment, finding out about different scholarships, and some scholarships or college applications, I needed counselors to do certain stuff, and we just had to stay on top of them because, like you said, it's a bureaucracy. And people don't always want to do their job, so you have to make them, and that's
well, I'm not even going to say people don't always want to do their job. Some people don't even
they don't know how to do it sometimes.
Or it's so much stuff on their plate that they just can't. It's just the system is broken. We know that.
Right.
So just like you and your mom had to fight your way, you become that noisy, and so they're going to pay attention to you. But think about all those other kids whose parents don't have the wherewithal to be noisy. So those kids get the ones that get left behind.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and it's very unfortunate. That's why I'm fortunate for programs as I was talking about before, the Get the Education Foundation, it kind of fills in that gap and helps kids whose counselors don't tell them about the scholarships or don't really help them in that process. Gives them the information and gives them the tools that help them succeed when it comes to applying for college, when it comes to applying for scholarships, and just going into college. Because a lot of people, as you were saying, are just ignorant to the process. Yeah. They're ignorant to the tools that they need. And that's where we as the community have to come in and say, okay, we see that there's a need and there's a gap, and we want to fill it. We want to make sure that these kids have the right tools and that they understand. But we have to be realistic at the same time, because everybody is not going to go to college. And everybody is not going to.
It's not for everything. Everything's not for everybody.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So we definitely have to be realistic when approaching these type of problems. Like Mama C was saying, we can't initially change the system. We have to work on ourselves. You know, it's kind of like when you go on the airplane and they tell you to put your mask on before you help anybody else. That's definitely what we have to do.
Because the scary thing is, you know, I say this all the time. We are Generation Y, the two of us, Kenya and I. Our generation as a whole is now on the precipice of being the game changers in society. But are we prepared for that? And that worries
me. Not.
It genuinely worries me.
No, you're not. But I'm going to tell you, we're gonna back up a bit. So I just want to. It's mainly U.S. citizens who aren't prepared. These other countries are preparing their students, or if they come here, they are preparing. These other students come here to get an education, that is their focus, education. And I'm going to tell you something that's going to ruffle some feathers right here. When they change the immigration laws that says that these students don't have to go back to their countries after they get these degrees, they can stay here and work, you're really going to have a problem. Because now they don't have to go back to India and China and Japan or wherever they came from. They can stay right here and get the jobs that you are not qualified to take. They're going to be the entrepreneurs. They're going to have, because they have those skills. They came in with the mindset of getting it done. And this is why I'm going to tell you, this is why I'm passionate about this, and this is why I say birth to 5th grade, play, explore, do everything else. 6th grade through 12th grade, it's about business. You see, you think of middle school as you get an internship. You know, you have your internship middle school. You know, when you have an internship, you're just testing it out. You don't really work there. You know, everything's laid back. People don't really give you too much responsibility. You're just seeing stuff. That's what middle school is. So, freshman and sophomore year you should think of it as a part-time job. This is my part-time. They give me a little bit more responsibility, but there's somebody really, really still supervising me. But I am accountable to somebody. Junior and senior year, this is my full-time job to get ready to get up out of here. And I'm not just talking about academics, because so many people who get in these APs and in all these classes can pass a test but cannot get out of a paper bag if you try to. If you oh my God. They are just not ready.
Yes, it's about real-world application.
Exactly.
A lot of people can solve math problems, but when the time comes to apply that math in a real-world situation, they can't do it.
They can't transfer that word problem is applicable in real life. They can't transfer the knowledge. They can't transfer it from everything their teacher told them on a day-to-day basis. They got them ready for that exam to real life, or even college, job,
real life.
Whatever.
And that's why I like what you said about middle school, thinking of it as an internship. I think that is something that has been very under-stressed in our society, the value of an internship, and also just from the fact that we have people that, you know, don't know what they're going to be coming out of college. They're going into college with no idea. And, yes, I understand and I appreciate the value of going in undecided. So you're not wasting your money. So you're not bouncing around from major to major, paying money for classes, then you're going to change your mind in another semester. However, I think our society is too laid back sometimes. Students really should start finding out what they're good at a younger age, so they at least know what direction they're going in.
College should not be that place where you just start asking yourself those questions. Somebody should have been asking you those questions much earlier. So, Kenya, I want you to tell us about this webinar you have coming up.
I am hosting a webinar basically explaining and giving tips on how I got my full ride and how other people can get their full ride. The website is fullride.eventbrite, eventbrite.com. And like I said, I'll basically explain my process, my stories, the different stories that I've heard from different individuals, and just try to give tips to fill the gap that I was talking about earlier to help students get away from that apathy about college just being this thing and scholarships coming the last minute, and help prepare students in whatever grade that they're in to go to school for free. Because I think what a lot of people in the previous generation are experiencing now is that student loans are terrible.
Oh, let's not talk about student loans.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God. Sally Mae is the biggest pimp in the world. Oh, my God. Sally Mae is the biggest pimp in the world. I don't like Sally Mae. Oh, my God. I feel like I've been on the trap. I feel so used at times, but I pay my money and I keep moving. So
yes,
what
and
date?
And plus the whole FAFSA process is a topic for another time.
Oh, exactly. So tell me when your webinar. When is your webinar and what time?
It'll be August 6th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
So I have to say, I commend you for doing this.
Thank you.
I just want to make sure it's free ride at eventbrite.com.
Yes.
And it's August 6th at what time?
7 p.m. Eastern Time.
7 p.m. Eastern Time, guys. You have somebody who's offering to give you their time to give you this information. Don't sit on your butts and not do anything about it. Take advantage of it. So any last words you want to say, Kenya?
I just want to encourage everyone out there to help somebody, whether you're in a high school student, help your friends, encourage your friends. If you're a college student, encourage someone below you, parents, and everybody. Just fill that gap that we were talking about earlier, because I think it's really important that people get involved in the communities around them, and it doesn't always have to be lower-income communities or inner-city communities.
Yeah.
There are people that live in the suburbs that know nothing about scholarships. Exactly. So just get involved in any way that you can and help make this America a better America. Oh, and thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah.
You're very welcome.
It was a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you. I enjoy talking to you all, too.
And we had our little hiccup, but we got through it. So with that, I'll say good night to you, Kenya. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The best wishes as you go off to this new adventure, and I wish you to have that same enthusiasm all 4 years, because it'll really come in handy when you don't want to get up and go to breakfast in the morning. So,
right? A feeling I know all too well.
So best of wishes to you, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely.
All right, take care.
You too.
All right, Janine, tell us about our last song.
Okay. Before that, I just too would like to say thank you for having me on the show. It's been a real pleasure. So,
You're more than welcome.
Our final song of the evening is called Take My Breath Away by Aurah. And for those of you that did like what you heard tonight, you can keep up with them on their website, www.aurah.com. Have a nice evening.
Right.
Thank you for listening, and please join us each and every Thursday from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern for more Real Talk for Real Teens.